Hey everybody, I wanted to make a couple of quick videos this afternoon, so let me just jump in here with my screen share. Um, First off, I have my folder open here with the files. I want to do this sort of in-class submission um, video because in general, I'm seeing a good improvement in terms of what people are turning in, but I had some kind of thoughts that I thought I would just try to share with everybody. First off, when you go to, let me just pull up a new one of these guys. When you go to our class, I'll just use the Monday 9 to 12 class. Tend to be a student. I'm doing this for week 4, which is already past us, but applies to all the other weeks as well, because I think for the most part, you're always going to have an Excel sheet now that you can download and build off of. So we go to assignments, we go to module 4. Again, we're just pretending that we did this. And oh shoot, I can't do module 4 because it's not there. Okay, I'm gonna go to M8 because I haven't put the Excel into M5 yet. Okay, so we've got the Excel, we've got the doc. This is basically the same thing that I wanted to show you anyways. So when I click on this, it downloads it. I would then open that. That should open up Excel. Sometimes when I have Excel stuff open and if I'm in the cell, it won't immediately open up a file that I just opened. I have to enable editing, and then I'm getting into doing whatever the assignment does. And to do that, to know what it is, I would have to go and download the doc. Okay, so I have these two files open, and I'm kind of thinking about what I need to do. And the first thing, if I start doing some work here, probability the family has more than 2 pets. Okay. Family, number of pets. Okay, I got to figure out how many families have more than 2 pets. Let's say there's 8 families that have more than 2 or 2 or more, and then there's 30 total. So that's how I do probability. Okay, at this point, I've started working in the Excel file. So at any point now, I would go immediately over here and do a save as, and I would be thinking about where this is on my computer. For me, given that I just took that off the internet, it'd be in my downloads folder, but I may care to put it in my documents folder. Some of this has to do with how you organize your work and the referencing that you want to be able to do over the course of the term to this is what happened in week 3, this is what happened in week 4. So, I might just put everything together into one folder called math and then have things named properly. But really importantly, once I decide where I'm going to put it, and I'm just going to put it in documents, I'm going to rename the file. So the M8 is important because I want to know it was in module 8. I might keep the word probability because that's a big piece of the name of this. And then I'll just put my initials so that your initials are not important on your computer, but they may be important when you're submitting it. And then the instructor has a bunch of different files to look at. So that's just a good strategy. The renaming it makes it really hard to submit a file that's not even the right file. Like what I see students doing is clicking the download, and then they get 3 or 4 copies of it, and then they're working in one of them, and then they upload another one. So the renaming it is just a good strategy to like own the file and say, yes, I've started making changes to it. As you're working through anything in class, I think your geography matters. So who are you sitting next to? What's your support network look like? Not just me walking around and Tamia's in our class, but the colleagues in the classroom, and we've done some intentional working around trying to make sure you know who you're sitting next to. When you're looking at your submission before you send it in. And I highly recommend that anytime you submit work, you just do a once over and you kind of go back through the assignment. You say, okay, this was the question. Here's my answer. Is it clear where the answer came from? Did I answer all the parts of the question? That's just good studenting. And sometimes if you're in a rush, you skip that part. Sometimes students haven't even developed that level of care and attention to detail. That's just something that you can start doing after every assignment. Go back through it. The longer the assignment, the more time that takes. But you could also break it into pieces and say, sheet one, okay, I'm about to move on to sheet two. Let me make sure sheet one is in good shape. I've answered all the questions. So there's various levels of sort of cycling through questions and making sure you've done everything that you needed to do. And then the last thing I wanted to say about submissions is if you submit something and then later you submit another thing, I'm only looking at the last submission. So that's good news, I think, because then you don't have to worry about telling me which submission to look at. Also, if you're in class and you're going to leave and you're not sure that you're going to get back to it, you plan to do more on it, but you're not sure, you can upload something. And then if you don't turn around and get to it later in the day, I'll at least have something to look at it in class submission. And if you do, you just resubmit. And it doesn't matter. You don't need to tell me not to look at the first one because I wouldn't have by that time. So the last submission is the only one that matters. If you see that there's a mistake, if you realize before the deadline, I need to resubmit, just submit it again. Okay, that's kind of my big list of things about this sort of technicality of submissions. Some of you have more complicated situations because of the computer you're using, and you've got to use the online version of Excel, or I have a Chromebook, whatever. That's the kind of thing that, people who have experience with Excel and technology can be supportive through. So don't feel like you have to figure it all out yourself. But if you're still having problems in week 5, we need to get those nailed down so that that doesn't get in your way anymore. All right, I'm going to post this in an announcement. I got one more video to make about the milestone.